So, made it to Germany. A little bit of a stressful journey to start with. My first flight from Leeds was delayed. Then looked like I was going to miss my second flight, the connecting flight from Amsterdam to Berlin. So I was kind of looking at contingency, staying in Amsterdam, etc. Landed in Amsterdam. They were like, oh, we think you can make the flight. So basically ran across the whole airport, just about made it to the second flight. So got here quite late last night, maybe like half midnight. Pretty chilled morning so far. About to go off and have a little swim. Cat, Indy and SJ. And then we'll go and test the bikes a bit later this afternoon, and I'll probably try and get a bit of a run in. The sun's out, seems quite nice at the moment. Frankie's going to be arriving later, who I'm sharing a room with. This is the pad. And he even has perfect sized bath for small people. So back home after what's been really a pretty epic week out in Germany supporting Kat with Sub8. I tried to get a few bits, but honestly it was actually just quite a busy week. We were so focused on kind of trying to make sure we were doing everything we could to optimise stuff for Kat and, you know, get the best tactics, etc., that I actually really didn't get a chance to take much video.
Is this you admitting your dependency on Jack?
Yes, I'm so dependent on Jack.
This is why we've got no footage from Sub8, is because Jack's not here, basically.
Yeah. The whole week was just incredible. I think, you know, the joining together of different groups of sports, like having the cyclists on the girls' side that were with us, having on the boys, both boys teams, all those cyclists, some of the runners, you know, just like bringing all the different sports together. Amazing, really fun, like really enjoyed hanging out with everyone, and that whole crossover of sport, just really, really cool. Just also the way the whole event was put together, having access to that track, just being able to like train on the track, then having all these other bits of, you know, everyone in the same hotel, so again, just being able to hang out with everyone. Really cool. Can't really praise the whole week and the whole setup and the organisation of it enough. Race day itself, Kat had an epic swim. Like, we all thought, and she thought, that she would probably have a bit of time to make up on Nicola coming out of the swim, but she, SJ and Indy absolutely smashed it pacing, like brought her out, and she was out just in front of Nicola, which meant that we started the ride ahead. You know, I definitely thought that as a team of cyclists that we would potentially put about 10 minutes into them, not as a kind of arrogant thing, just as a, you know, we had super strong time trialists. We thought our tactic of swapping people in of different teams would work better than what we thought or heard their original tactic was, which was basically having one person on the front for most of it. I think they changed their tactic a little bit to be more similar to ours, having done a bit of practice. The whole team just gelled really well together, great group of girls, and everyone trying to feed in, you know, how to make it better, how to work better as a team. So that was really cool. So yeah, we had one of the teams plus me leading Kat from the lake up to the track. It was super fast, there was a nice tailwind basically all the way. That was the one bit of the ride that we'd driven it, but we hadn't been able to cycle it. So I think in future, like maybe the bit up to the motorway, we would maybe try and cycle and practice, because there were definitely some corners that you could improve if you'd just ridden them together as a team. We then got onto the track, and basically on the track we were doing our tactic of basically swapping a team on every 4 laps. That was generally good. Like, I have to say it was definitely harder work on race day than it had been even on the days we'd been doing race pace practice. Like, me being that static wheel in front of Kat and covering every time girls were rotating, just making sure we were still kind of on the wheel. For me, it was quite surgy, and I was trying really hard to make that as smooth as possible. So I think, again, it's something that just, if we had more time and had more time to practice, we'd probably be able to refine that a little bit. So whilst my normalised power for the whole ride is like similar to what I would ride in an Ironman, like if you look at my kind of graph afterwards, it's basically just like loads and loads of little peaks and troughs of bridging back to the group or like trying to hold onto their wheel as they were changing. The ride was really good. We got off, like I had a break in the middle, so I had 3 laps off just to kind of stretch out a bit, get some more hydration, nutrition on, and then went back out. So I ended up riding 163k of it. The last little bit, we basically decided that we would try it with everyone on. So like when the last team swapped on, the team that had been before them just tried to stay on, the thought being we would have a bigger pace line and it would make it easier for Kat. But what we actually found was that it was way more surgy at the back, because we hadn't really had a chance to practice that. We'd been focusing more on practicing the rotations. So again, we managed to make the kind of decision as we were riding to be like, this isn't working, get one of the teams off, which happened pretty quickly. So again, I think like the ability of people to react and, you know, make the best out of that kind of situation was great. Off the bike with a sort of a 3.5 minute lead, which, you know, I think isn't really a reflection on our team. It's actually more of a reflection of how great the other team rode. Complete kudos to them. They had Joe Patterson on the front pulling some absolutely ridiculous turns, and they clearly actually worked really well as a team and just rode really, really strongly. So yeah, I mean, like, absolutely fair play to them. We were, and Kat was hoping for definitely a bit more of a buffer, but, you know, I think we all had complete faith in Kat. Off she went on the run. I was then definitely trying to take some time to stretch out, get ready to do a bit of running with her. SJ unfortunately had picked up a bit of a niggle, so wasn't going to be able to run, so that left India, Neris and me to do some running. So I knew I was going to have to do maybe a bit more than originally planned. And by this point it was also really hot. Definitely quite important for Kat to have just that kind of moral support of paces. I think I came in on maybe the 6th lap and I did 3 laps with Kat. Again, like, we were just keeping it kind of steady. We knew at this point that Nicola was running time into Kat, but also like Kat is basically the most consistent runner she will run her marathons like super consistent the whole way through. So again, we weren't really that worried because we were pretty sure that Nicola would fade at some point. Although if there is anyone that could potentially do a similar run to Kat in terms of not fading, I mean, Nicola is probably the one to do it. Absolute trooper. She hung in there. She had Indy with her at that point, and I think Indy was just saying to her, you know, we can hang in here, we can do it. And Indy then took her back past Nicola. And at that point, like, yeah, it was like, there's no way that she's giving in now. If she's battled back to, and again, I say battled back, she actually just kept running really consistently. I think she had 1 lap where she picked it up a little bit when she overtook Nicola. But generally, if you look at all her lap splits, super consistent. So I then came back on for another couple of laps. Being able to run with her, and, you know, I had done St George as well. For me, I don't think I would have been able to do another Ironman that close post that harder race, and especially with kind of how deep Kat went at St George, from not feeling that great, it not being her kind of perfect race, for her to bring out that kind of performance, like, absolutely unbelievable. I was just kind of running with her like, I can't believe you're managing to do this, and that you're just, you know, you handled all the pressure, you stepped up late, just amazing. So to see her then cross that line in such a ridiculous time, super impressive. That kind of event, having that team dynamic is just really cool. Like, I really hope it's something they can kind of develop, that they can look at doing some slightly different things, you know, maybe different team formats at Collins Cup or some shorter events with less paces or something, but definitely it seems to have legs. I also think the commentary and the whole like production was the best that's ever been done in triathlon. I've had lots of feedback from other people that watched it saying similar. So again, hopefully if like Ironman, PTO, Challenge can take that feedback and use it in future, then I definitely think we can help kind of grow the sport. But yeah, just like, what an experience, what a great thing to be part of. Absolutely loved it. And yeah, hopefully there'll be some more in the future.